All right. Thank you, everybody. So yeah, Mike, I was just gonna let you you drown as you mix up all the names and everything. So yeah, so as Mike has correctly said, we're from a group of companies that are focused in deep tech companies. The primary efforts of us and our sister companies are around deep tech startups as it relates to investors, corporations, and also with federal, state, and city agencies. And actually, our sister company, which Deep Tech Showcase was born out of, is a federal grant consultancy company. So we're just about to kick things off, and we're talking a little about the showcase itself. So first and foremost, the showcase is a company that was formed really just a couple months ago, and already thankfully it's been a really incredible launch so far to see the amount of traction. And in a minute, you're going to see exactly why, because we're addressing a need here which otherwise goes unaddressed. Next slide. So the showcase community addresses two types of members. One type of member, and this is not the updated slides. You can see if you can find the other one, use that one instead. But it addresses two types of members. One is on the one hand, we have on the left side of the column are startups that are developing deep tech. Very simply, those startups that are developing deep tech and have also received some sort of government funding need to leverage their government funding to do more. And that's the other side of the column, which are the stakeholders. Stakeholders are those that enable for deep tech to happen with a variety of means, and we'll take a deeper look about that in just 1 second. So, Asher, Yuval, any luck with the slides?
Yeah, 1 second.
If not, I can share it from mine. Within that, we have to ask yourself the question, so who are the startups that are in the Deep Tech Showcase community? And the answer are companies that are developing deep tech. That should be obvious from the name, right? But also companies that are developing what's called dual-use technology. Dual-use technology means that technology which addresses two markets. One market is the federal agencies or the state and city agencies. And on the other hand are the private sector. Pretty simply reaching out to relevant innovators, inventions, whether they are relevant for the private sector or on the public sector on the other hand. Actually, I'm going to share my screen if you don't mind. Give us a second to get started up here. There you go. Can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
There we go. So those are the companies that actually fit within the community. Those are developing deep tech, dual-use tech, and that also have won federal or any government or city or state funding. Defining a stakeholder is a pretty simple task. Stakeholders are those that enable for deep tech to happen using a variety of means, whether it's capital, whether it's connections and ability to license out contracts, or direct access to client base, such as in the case of major corporations. So the three types of stakeholders that are in the Deep Tech Showcase community are agencies. It says federal here, but we've opened it up now to state and city as well. Major corporations and investors. Our mission is pretty simple, and we want to help those startups that are developing the deep tech, which has proprietary technology, IP intensive, which has the ability to really alter the course of our lives and the world around us, and to take that technology all the way to market. And that's why we need both the stakeholders which open those doors, as well as those technologists which open up the technological doors, which was previously impossible tech is now seeing the light of day. We do this from two primary efforts. On one hand, we have guided introductions, and on the other hand, we have events like this one together with Entre. The introductions are pretty simple. The stakeholders, whether it's a government representative, a major corporation, or an investor, come to the showcase staff and say, well, this is what we're looking for, this is the technology we're interested in making an investment in, or licensing out a contract to, or we're trying to develop this for a giant corporate community base, and we need the help of this innovative small business. So then what happens is we say, okay, that's fine. Let's see which companies in our network are relevant for you. We share the company profiles so that there's a low friction. The organizations have the right of first refusal, and if they're interested, then an introduction follows. On the startup side, that means that you come together with your materials, and if there is a relevant fit here, then you come already with a hot introduction with a relevant stakeholder. The alternative, as I mentioned before, are events like this one. This is a little bit unusual for our primary activities. Most events that we have involve a panel of a mixture of government, major corporations, and investors. This event with Entre is geared towards investors, and with a great panel that we have today, we're going to discuss that as well. Where we're going to be doing something a little bit unusual for us, but it's still super relevant because investors, of course, are very important stakeholders. We run a series of these events throughout the year. I'll just skip right to the actual schedule. We have a very intense schedule coming up. January and March 3rd, those already happened. Today is March 18th, the Entre Pitch event. And upcoming, we have a full schedule, including our next showcase, which is focused on AI and ML, big data and cyber. Then on May 20th, it's going to be smart cities. And as you see, all the way through the end of the year and starting off 2022 with our summit. Our last showcase event, which was, again, employing this model that we're all stakeholders sitting on a panel, involves some really great panelists, including from WWTS, which is a great major corporation, Allstate, Thales, Cloud Security, and we had some fantastic companies pitching there as well. We also had a focus on space. So any of you space enthusiasts, you would be very well worth your time to go into research the companies that were pitching at our space event. And we had a fantastic panel here as well. Some of the space pitching companies, actually one of them today, B612, will be also pitching this event. So you get to see a little bit of the space element. Today's panel, we have a fantastic group of panelists. My tradition is not to introduce anybody, but rather for you to be introduced to them by hearing their comments and their wisdom as they respond to the companies. But as you see,
where'd you go?
The first three individuals from left to right are our investor panel today. And we're going to be capping off the event at the very end with a overview of federal funding by Yoav Sadan, who is from our sister company, Eagle Point Funding. Today's companies, fantastic group. We got B612, we got Nanoramic, we got Inductive Ventures, Target Arm, Survivor, Sentient Decision Sciences, and also I'm missing one on this list. Let's remember who the last one is. I believe it is. Yes, Intelligent Nanofiber. So we have a fantastic group of people today presenting. So I'll let the presenters speak for themselves, but first let's start with a little bit of a roundtable. Go ahead, Mike.
Sure thing. Thanks so much for that introduction on everything. And